Just been following a dirt track here through the forestry, a few miles from where I live. Been kind of going off into the woodland to the side a bit, basically on a bit of a reconnaissance mission to find a new camping spot, because I live in a village where pretty much we are surrounded at all sides by forestry, so there are potentially hundreds of different places to camp. It's just a matter of getting out there and finding them. So it's been quite a nice day today. I thought I'd make the most of it. Just had to get off and gonna have to walk for a little bit of the way because the track here is so sandy. The wheels are just spinning in it and sinking into it. So you can see there how fine that is on dry days like this. And this is really more of a road bike, even though I use it off-road more than on-road. I've found this bike to be more comfortable to ride than any sort of mountain bike, you know, dual suspension, all that jazz. This bike's been a lot more comfortable for me, so I'm going to stick with it, even though in a situation like this I could have done with some thicker tyres with a bit more grip on them. Though even when I used to come down here on the old mountain bike, I would still have trouble down these sandy parts. So there you have it. Can't grumble considering I got this bike for free. Fixed it up myself. Alright, well I found a spot here that looks pretty good. It's not visible from any tracks. It's pretty clear, other than some bits of deadwood on the floor to clear out. Now, I did bring my machete with me. I got this about December time. It was only a cheap one. It was like £10. And I mean, it was blunt as anything when I got it. The blade was as blunt as the back is, but I've managed to get it razor sharp now. Now, so it's not there's a bit of flex in it, so it's not the strongest machete in the world, and I don't need it to be. I literally bought it just for cutting away bracken and stinging nettles. So, you know, a cheap £10 one like this is fine for that. It isn't designed for cutting through anything really thicker than some, you know, thin green plant life. So I know it's not particularly flashy, but as I say, I've got my reasons for getting this cheap one, and it's served its purpose so far. It's done well at just cutting away at what I need to, but I haven't had to use it at this spot here. I'm still going to recce a few others, see if I can find anywhere better, but I mean, this is pretty nice here. It's a nice clear spot here, but all around me is thick woodland, which is perfect. There's a bit of deadwood in the tree there that still it looks quite secure. It doesn't look like it's going to break off anytime soon, so I don't think that it's a potential widow maker. So yeah, very promising. To give you a little look at the area around where I'm planning on having my next camping trip. Probably film it, see how I feel. Don't think I'll be able to do this weekend, so I've got plans, but maybe next weekend. Hopefully the weather will hold out. It is pretty nice in here. I mean, it's got really thick forestry around me, but at the same time, and it is far enough away from the tracks that I feel that it's private in here, but it's not so far away that I've got a huge trek with the bike, so it's really quite an ideal location for me. I'm now about to make myself a drink, but before I do, I just wanted to show you something. Now I bought my favourite canteen out with me. It's a Swiss Army canteen. I've got 2 cups for it, so I've got one for drink and one for food, basically. I won't go into too much detail about this because I've already done a separate video on it, but this is my favourite canteen by far. It just really suits my needs. But one thing is, the cups, as far as I'm aware, don't have lids. You know, I've searched on Google and everywhere, and I just couldn't find a metal lid designed for these kind of cups, so I've had to make one myself. That's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it functions, it does the job. Basically, I had an old aluminum pan lying around from a camping cook set somebody bought me that I didn't need because I've already got one that I really like, which once again I've done a separate video on. So it's just been sitting around in my bedroom for about 4 years now, so I thought I'd finally get some use out of it. So I basically got the cup, drew an outline around it on this pan, drew another outline around that about 1/2 centimetre out, so that when I cut it out I could then bend those edges round to create a little rim. Cut another bit of the aluminum out and put on the top there and kind of pinned it down with a D-ring, so I've got a little handle for it. and then I put a bit of liquid weld just around the edge there to smooth off where it was a bit sharp, because around the edge there I also, every centimetre along, cut another line so that I could then bend those bits of metal around with some needle nose pliers, but it did leave a few sharp edges, so just to smooth that off, like I say, I put a bit of liquid weld around there. Now, the one thing that does bother me about this is that I rushed it a bit and I didn't take the time to measure properly the centre when I put the D-ring handle on, so now it doesn't balance central, and it really bothers me. But at the same time, I don't want to pull it off and then puncture more holes in it, so I'm just going to kind of put up with it really, but there's a bit of an annoyance. But otherwise I'm pretty happy with it really. It sits on there nicely, doesn't slide off or anything because of the rim. Once again, I know it's not the prettiest looking lid in the world, but it functions, and I wanted something a bit more solid than just tin foil. Like, you can make just a lid for a canteen cup out of tin foil, but I liked it being something a bit more permanent, a bit more solid. So I'm now going to test it out. I haven't actually used it yet, but hopefully it will work. I can't see why it wouldn't. So that will reduce my boiling time, save me on fuel, so I'm not wasting so much with the heat escaping from the top of it. Now I've got this on the boil. I've only put one recce fuel tablet in there at the minute. I'm going to see if that's enough, but I may need to put another one in. I'm not sure if one will be enough to boil it. We shall see. Now, another handy thing about having two of these cups is that when this is boiled, I can then put the coffee in there and put the boiling water in there to drink it out of, whereas if I was to try and drink out of that one, it's going to be far too hot and I'm going to end up burning my lips on the rim of it. So having either a spare cup with you or an extra canteen cup like this is really handy. Now, often I'll bring my carabiner cup, which I've showed you before, because it just clips on my belt quite easily, but I couldn't be bothered today. I thought I might as well just use these canteen cups. Still going there. It's been a few minutes so far. Like I say, that was just with one fuel tablet, and I've put some natural tinder in there as well, because I wanted to see if I could boil some water with just one fuel tablet, but I think really you do need two of them on there. Normally I use two. This was just a little experiment, but one really isn't enough, even with putting some bits of wood and stuff on there to keep the flame going. It's a bit slow going, so I'm going to have to put another recce tab on there. It's bubbling away nicely now. It took a good few minutes, so it would have been quicker if I had put two recce tabs on in the first place, but I was kind of messing around a bit, just experimenting a bit. But yeah, it's bubbling away nicely now, so get my brew on. I'm going to use the handle of my trowel to mix that up. Actually makes quite a good whisk. Lovely jubbly. I'll put a little bit of cool water in there just so I don't have to wait for it to cool down too much and get drinking that straight away. Yeah, the lid did good. Looked fine. I really should have tested to see how hot that D-ring gets, because I used a bit of wood to get it off just in case the D-ring got too hot and I burnt myself, but it feels quite cool now, even though it's only been off there for about a minute, so might have been able to use that. Didn't feel too hot at all there so far. But yeah, good little DIY job. If anyone's got any hints or tips on how I could make that look a bit more presentable around the edges, let me know. I hate having half a recce tab left over, because I never know what to do with it. Seems a bit of a waste. I suppose I could try and repackage it up and use the rest of it. that's why I was experimenting, seeing if I could get away with just using one of them really, because it tends to use up kind of 1.5 or 1 3/4, so there's always a little bit of waste there with it. I always bring a ground sheet along with me so I've got somewhere comfortable to sit if need be. Now something I found along the track when I was cycling down here is this bit of metal grill. Don't know how it got there, don't know what it's come off of, but thought that might come in quite handy to put over a fire pit if I dig one. You know, I might cut it down a little bit smaller because I don't tend to need one quite this wide. Maybe file down the edges a bit there so it's not sharp when I put it in the pannier bag, so I don't rip on anything. But yeah, I thought it was quite a handy find. You know, you never know what you're going to find out and about that you can use. So I'll take that home with me. As usual, I forgot to bring any bug spray with me. I don't know why, because I've got these perfect little pen size bug sprays. One's repellent and one's bite and sting relief, which I got specifically for bringing out with me, so I didn't have to bring big old cans, but I still keep forgetting them. I do remember them at least when I go travelling abroad, so where there are, you know, far more mosquitoes and things that have got malaria or whatever, at least I do remember to protect myself from them. But out in the British countryside, it's just something that I always forget, end up paying for it. I don't know why I don't remember, because I get bitten like anything, so you'd think I would remember. I wish I'd brought my carabiner mug out with me, because this is still too hot for me. Now, I'm terrible at handling hot food. Hot as in spicy, yes, I love spicy food, even though I don't eat it very much, it's not really all that good for you. But hot as in the temperature, my mouth just can't handle it. I pretty much have everything lukewarm. But these canteen cups keep the drink hot for so long. I mean, it's still too hot for me to drink out of, and it's been, you know, probably 10 minutes now. Whereas the good old carabiner mug, it's just more comfortable to drink out of, and it doesn't, even though it's insulated, it doesn't keep it too hot like this does. And it's more the mug itself. Like the carabiner mug keeps the heat in the drink, but not in the mug. The mug stays lovely and cool where it's insulated. Whereas this, even though I used a separate cup to the one I boiled the water in, this is still really hot now. So it's not something I often do, drinking out of the actual canteen cups themselves. I eat out of them, but I don't drink out of them. But like I said, I didn't bother bringing the carabiner one with me. But it's so much more comfortable as well, because it's just like a normal mug really, just made of aluminum, and with a clip for a handle. Another thing I like about down here where I'm camping is not far from this spot there are a lot of blackberry bushes, so I'm potentially going to have somewhere nice to forage in about a month's time. And there are actually some that are out already that I picked the other day when I was down here. I bought a little ice cream tub with me just in case I found some more, but I haven't so far. But I don't know if it was some kind of different variety that bear fruit earlier in the year, but usually it's a good month from now before blackberries are ready to pick. So I was quite pleased with that. I got a big ice cream tub full. Quite handy for my smoothies and that I have at home. Ah, it's nice, perfect temperature for me now, even though it's been a good 15 minutes since I boiled it up. It's usually how long I have to wait for hot drinks. Most people probably find it too cool now, but I love it at that, like I say, lukewarm temperature. Yum, yum, yum. I can't come out camping this weekend because I've got plans. I'm off out for dinner and a movie with a girlfriend. I'm going to go see Ant-Man, which I haven't really been all that enthusiastic, even though, as you can probably tell, I'm a Marvel fan, but I haven't been all that enthusiastic to see it. But it's basically a choice between that and Fantastic Four, and from what I've heard of Ant-Man, people have either said it's alright or it's really good, whereas everything I've heard about Fantastic Four has been that it's really boring and just not very good. So I'd take okay at best, or at worst, sorry, with Ant-Man over boring and terrible, which is what everyone said about Fantastic Four. So yeah, give that a go. It'd be nice at some point to get my girlfriend out here with me camping and get her on video, if only to try and get the views up. If I can persuade her to like don a bikini for a few seconds, and then I can use that as the screenshot for the clickable icon for the video. Get the old get the old viewership up. Biased as I may be.